Acceptance leaps without forest killer. Pray shortcuts, avoid understanding. About humankind, try overconfidence reality. Like anyways. Humankind guesswork, notice above ourselves thing. Logic, intuition lurk, see defies. Predator evolved asset unproven. Intuition answers, the greatest all defies reality. Dangers, long understanding. Reality, truth thing. Greatest defies intuition, dangerous trees. Dangerous reality stars, outside understanding. Takes humanity sought truth's perception. Last time, y'all experienced a bit of violence. You were all adapted to violence, but, this was pretty extreme. You woke up that morning and all chose to go burn down that darn barn. You saw some weird shit in there, you wanted it gone, and so you burned it down. Unfortunately, the things inside were a little bit more than you could tackle. Luck was not on your side. You were fighting things far more powerful than you thought would be there. Most of you died to just lightning smiting you from the sky. The rest of you fell unconscious. That is where we left off. Right now, over an unspecified period of time, all of you are seeing things. You're seeing lights dancing in the distance, extremely bright. There's more light than darkness, really, but you can see the pinpoints where the lights originate from, like stars, brighter than the rest. Or darker? Black stars against a white sky, spinning around each other, dancing in an unusual pattern. You hear thunder, you hear screams, these roaring, breathing sounds that just vibrate your entire being. Do you have a being right now? Are you in a body? What do you feel? You feel only these vibrations. This twisted music, which you now recognize as music, though like no human music you've ever encountered, something you've only begun to slightly understand after ceaseless exposure to it. And then silence. All four of you wake up. But I need each of you to pick a stat. Pick your least favorite stat in your character, or your most favorite stat in your character. It doesn't matter to me. Pick a stat.
A skill or a stat?
A stat. One of your statistics. So like strength or intelligence.
I've got a stat.
I've got a stat.
Yeah, I've got one.
I've got one.
All right. Each of you are going to take a permanent injury based on the stat you have chosen. So roll 2d10 and take the smaller of the 2d10 and subtract that from that stat.
Ooh, 2 4s.
If you chose a stat that requires another stat to be recalculated, like hit points or whatever, we can recalculate that.
Take the smaller one?
The smaller,
out?
Yep.
Okay.
Got lucky there.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong slash.
Here, I got you. You're on a touchscreen.
Yes, I am.
So you got a 3
Right.
as well.
It looks
All
like
right.
maximum HP automatically recalculated for me.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll give you all a minute to adjust those stats and start thinking about what that injury might be. If you subtracted dexterity, have you taken like some kind of muscle or nerve damage in your hands or arms that makes it hard to do things, or if you took strength, is it whatever it might be. If it's charisma, it might be like you have a wound on your face or something, right? A scar. maybe you took a pretty significant hit to one of your internal organs if it's constitution, right? And now you've never been the same afterwards. So what stats did you all pick? I'm curious.
I took strength.
So you
Same.
become enfeebled in some way.
Strength.
Hunter took Constitution, and he's now suffering from nerve pain throughout his hands and feet.
How about the rest of you? Any ideas? Are you looking for suggestions? Strength could also be like joint pain or something that keeps you from exerting yourself as much, or I don't know, something.
I was thinking like a limp, like something
Hmm,
happened to my leg.
that could work.
Hematite dead to lightning, right? No, I'm at 1 HP. So
You got
I
knocked out
also
probably by lightning.
was knocked out by lightning. I didn't die to it,
Mhm.
but was
okay.
the reason why I was unconscious.
Is nerve damage and having to relearn motor control a good strength one?
Sure, that works for me. Some kind of, however you want to explain it,
Like
it's fine with me.
gross motor control in the legs,
Hmm.
particularly.
I think Hallow has a hard time lifting his arms up all the way now because of uh, he was holding that shotgun when he got hit, so I think that conducted the electricity into his arms somewhat as well.
That makes sense.
If that's not how that works, who cares?
Who cares? It's unnatural lightning. Whatever. You know?
Yeah.
It was lightning
Yeah. I
fired from
think
an alien gun.
Hematite's probably gonna need a cane to walk any distance these days.
All right. And sorry, did I hear high tide? Did you come up with something? I feel like if I did,
Yeah,
didn't.
I was also thinking of like some type of nerve damage in his
Yeah.
leg
I mean,
that makes him limp around everywhere.
a limp. That's what you said, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of lightning being thrown around out there.
Yeah. I'm actually rethinking mine a little bit. I think the shotgun exploded and he has damage in his forearms, and now he has no fine motor control in his hands.
Okay, that works too. All right. So you all wake up feeling like shit. The other times you've woken up in these situations, you felt like whatever you would have woken up like that day, right? You know, maybe you were hungover that day, and so you woke up feeling hungover. Some of you had a really good night's sleep the night before you woke up. The previous times this has happened. This time, you all universally wake up feeling like absolute shit. It's not just hungover, it's like your entire body is screaming at you, like something's wrong. Like your entire body, you know that sensation of like a limb going to sleep? It's like your entire body is like that at the moment, and it's like waking up, like your blood is transferring back through it. Your body is waking up. Yes, it's bad.
Screaming intensifies. It keeps intensifying until the screaming stops.
Are we in the field?
So, let me describe that. Yes, you're distracted for a moment by this sensation before you even open your eyes. But eventually, each of you do open your eyes, and maybe some of you let out a yelp or a scream or whatever at this sensation. And it echoes back at you rather quickly. You're in a very solid box, whatever you're in. Your eyes open up and you start to take in your surroundings. Each of you are in an individual glass cube of about 10 feet on each side. There's a cot that each of you are laying on and nothing else in these cubes. Each of you are wearing a hospital gown. These cubes are situated within a very large warehouse, and there are, it's all dark around you except for lights from the warehouse ceiling pointed directly down onto the area around these cubes. Like just spotlights, basically. So that's all you can see for now, as you maybe acknowledge each other upon waking up and trying to figure out what the fuck's going on here.
I'm gonna check my hands and the bottoms of my feet and feel around on my tongue for any scarring.
What HP should we be at?
You should be at full.
Okay.
That's a good question. Yeah, you can
Thank
all reset your
you.
HP, willpower, all of that stuff.
Can we reset our sanity?
No.
Aw.
Although you might have an opportunity for that soon. Keep that in mind. I will bring it up again. But you guys are in these boxes, and as you're left alone while you're waking up here for a moment, as you're all just, it seems strange that all of you kind of simultaneously wake up. Like you all sit up in your cots or whatever and look around, and everyone else is sitting up at the same time. Like this was strangely coordinated. Each of you also has it's like a weird feeling in your head, like an intrusive thought, almost like asking you to do something, like what would happen if you did this, what would be the consequences of that, you should probably do this, and you almost reject it immediately just because it's such an alien thought. But there's more to it than that. It's also like there's a bit of muscle memory that you don't remember acquiring. Like you've learned some kind of skill or some kind of motion, or you know how to do something, but you don't know how you know it. And it's a very weird, like parasitic thought. There's just something strange there, but you're having a hard time finding the shape of that thought. There's just something there that shouldn't be. So you're experiencing all kinds of sensations right now, both external and internal, as you're waking up from whatever the fuck just happened. Yes.
One that I am experiencing right now, I will start searching my entire body. Did my flashlight get taken?
Oh yeah, no, you are in a hospital gown and you have no possessions.
All right, yeah. So when I wake up, the first thing I do is start screaming, and I now have a 10% penalty to all of my checks until I get
Panicking,
that.
turning over the cot, like looking through the pillows and things. Nope, nothing. No flashlight.
Do I have any markings like the kid had on my body?
You do a quick look around, and your body feels strange to move around, like you described before, but no weird markings. Since all of you pretty much chose like nerve damage related stuff, you don't have any other injuries of note or any symbols branded on you or anything like that.
I'm just gonna start screaming "Let us out" at the top of my lungs over and over again.
You guys can hear each other fairly well, even though these glass cubes appear to be fairly solid. The glass appears to be pretty thick. You assume there must be enough like ventilation to, I mean, obviously keep you alive in there, but also to allow sound to travel through.
So yeah, y'all can hear me screaming.
Yeah. Hey, Hunter, please. Yeah. Oh, my fucking head. Where the shit are we?
I am also screaming.
Through the screams, you hear a sound that kind of pierces everything because it's so different. It's not an organic sound. You hear the wobbling of wheels, like squeaking of wheels on like a very old rusty office chair, being kind of wheeled into the light. You see that being pushed into the light first. It's like a very beaten up old chair, like the cushions are like very ratty and like the seams are tearing and things like that, but it's just being pushed out. All of your cubes of glass are kind of arranged not quite corner to corner, like there's gaps between them, maybe about a 5-foot gap between the cubes, but they're like the cubes are in a square, so you're not like in a line or anything like that. And that light is shining down from above. This chair gets pushed into the middle, and behind it is a man. He's average height, but he's very thin, like very strangely thin. He's smiling as he walks in, and you can see pretty clearly that he has multiple gold teeth in like the front teeth that are just sparkling. You can't tell quite how many from here, but he has a very shiny gold smile. He's wearing a very nice suit as he walks in. His skin is very pale. His hair is like slicked back, and he's just his eyes almost look dead, but he has this smile that does not reach his eyes at all. as he wheels his chair into the middle and takes a seat on it. He says, Now, enough of that. Now, nope. We don't need any more loud noises. It's all right. We're going to have a conversation. Calm down. Settle down.
If
You
he's
gonna
not letting us
explain to
out, the
us what the
screaming
fuck
continues.
is going on?
So you have a conversation while Hunter continues to scream.
Yeah. And High Tide, I imagine, is still screaming.
Yeah, fair.
Can hematite be feeling around to see if there's like any door or mechanism in the glass?
Yeah, you can start just feeling around, pressing up against different parts of the glass and stuff.
Now that there's someone here, I would stop screaming and I would just kind of constantly be asking him, like, "Hey, where's our belonging? Where's our stuff? Where's our belongings?"
Oh, your belongings. You'll get those back soon enough. Don't you worry. We were not going to take those from you entirely. We're just it's your things were pretty interesting. Not to my taste, but some of my boys back at the lab, they really like taking a look at some of your stuff. Very interesting things you've got.
Yes, I know. I need one of them back.
You'll get it soon enough. Just cooperate. We'll have a very quick discussion, and if you could, help your friend here cooperate as well, that would be greatly appreciated.
I would
Are
sit
you-
in the corner of the cube and just kind of give him a dirty scowl.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to do with what the experiment? How long have we been in here? How long have we've been in here for a long time. Right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Let's see. Today's date is he checks his watch. October 28th. It's a Thursday. Oh, miss, you're not gonna find anything in there. I'm sorry. You're not gonna find any doors like that. That's not how these things work. Let's just settle in and have
So
a
what do you want?
conversation. I want to be your friend, and I want to have a chat. That's all. We're gonna be friends here. Just a nice, friendly conversation.
All right, ask your questions.
Well, we should get your friend here to settle down first. It might be easier to talk.
Hey, Hunter, you wanna? It's okay, buddy.
Young man, we'll let you out soon enough. You just need to answer our questions.
What? I don't even know what could answer for you. I'm so confused as to what's going on here.
Hunter may go into a coughing fit and stop screaming at this point.
Okay. Well, how are you all feeling? Let's start there.
Pissed.
Okay. Yeah, pissed.
Hunter is gagging and coughing.
takes a
More
little notebook.
confused than anything. I don't know how much of that was real or any of it, if it ever was.
Well,
And
this
I
is very
really
real.
want an explanation.
Yeah. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. We're the ones asking the questions here, but that's just how
Why
this is
are
gonna
you
go.
asking the questions, man?
Well, that sounds to
We
me like a
woke up
question.
here. You took. He just flips them
okay.
off.
Yep. Oh, okay. He writes something down on his notepad. All right, let me start from the basics. Where are my manners? I am
You don't
Chief
have any.
Lepus. You're right. I really should work on that. It's not typically part of my day-to-day job is to have manners, but I'm trying very hard. And you wouldn't want me to have to resort to my normal behaviors, of course. I'm Chief Lepus. That's who you will know me by. It may or may not be my real name. You know how this goes. Now, you've had a hell of a month. How would you say your month has gone? How would you say your last few weeks of your memory have gone?
Up until
Shitty.
one point, pretty normal. Until we started waking up in the past.
Waking up in the past, you say? Interesting. Okay. Done some things. Waking up like how far in the past?
I don't know,
Variable.
like, yeah, it started out at what, like 2 weeks? Something? 1 week, 2 weeks? It was a longer time the first time.
See.
And then after we went back the first time, it was a couple of days, and then 1 day, and then the same day. And each of these was triggered by us discovering something strange in that town
Dorchester,
and
you
then
mean?
dying. I'm sorry, what?
Ah. Dorchester is the town, yes? That's the town.
Yeah, that's
Just
the
to be
one.
precise. Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right.
We were out there for business. And the first time was it we were out there looking at some kid that disappeared, came back, and started popping people's heads off. It was weird.
Speaking of business, would you say you had a productive visit to Dorchester? It's not really a town you'd visit for tourism. It's terrible food. I've heard it'll kill you.
No.
Call it initially productive.
Okay, initially productive. That's a good start. Scribbles it down. You all been sleeping all right? Any strange dreams lately? Dreams of going to the past? I guess that would count.
Screaming and drums has been a recent one. Music.
You a big fan of concerts? Think you just remembering one of them?
No.
I'm hoping this is a dream.
Well, if I'm in your dream, that would be a new experience for me, but I don't think that's the case.
I don't know, man. I've seen weirder shit.
You could just be a figment of our collective imagination.
It's literally happened before.
Oh, well, fair enough. Okay. Scribble something down on this piece of paper. Feeling healthy? Feeling like you need to get anything checked out? As your friend, I'm just concerned about your health, of course. I just want to make sure you're all doing okay.
Nope.
All right.
Your
felt
friend,
better.
why'd you take our stuff? Still glaring at him from the corner.
It'll be returned. It'll be returned. Thank you for your cooperation. Well, let's turn to some more serious matters. You all ever seen a rainbow rock before? My friends the Dowells had one, but they're dead now, unfortunately.
Oh, you're the guys with the van, right?
Yeah, I lost a few good men that day. You know anything about that?
Yeah, we gave them the rock that they wanted, and then they got, I don't know, electrocuted by the rainbow light. We literally complied with them, and then they died.
Yeah, and was this before or after you went to the past?
Oh, this is way before.
Subjects claimed they cooperated. Interesting.
Like, so we were in there with the rock. Like
They wouldn't have known about the rock if not for us. Let's just start with that.
Yeah, they didn't know where it was, but the old man was acting really weird about it. It would like it bewitched him and his wife. Like, there's really, really weird shit going on with that. And then it was like our minds were in a microwave, almost. So we just wanted to get rid of that rock. So we were like, hey, we've got a weird thing in here. And they came in, they were pretty angry about it. Like, we gave them the rock, and then they said, stay inside, and we did. And then it was like they got hit by a. I actually didn't see. These guys did it. Like a bolt of lightning hit it.
Something happened and they were all fried from the inside out.
Hmm.
And then the dodecahedron flew down from the sky and crashed.
Interesting story. And you would say this was one of your dreams or not one of your dreams?
This was real.
Unclear.
This was where we all met. Well, actually, at this point, yeah, maybe it's unclear. But this is how I know these people.
All right, unclear. He leans in a lot more serious, like puts his elbows on his knees, puts his the palms of his hands together. Do you consider yourselves part of a program? A cell of a conspiracy? Do the words Delta Green mean anything to you?
Unclear?
I mean, come on, guys. So, yeah, that's who we were supposed to be working with. Looking into weird alien shit after that first encounter. We had, honest, the visit to Dorchester, we thought was just something else until, until the night that we prevented Billy from being abducted, honestly.
Thank you for being truthful with me. He sits back in his chair, more relaxed again.
Then again, this whole thing might be a hallucination and Delta Green might not exist.
Scribbles some more things down on his paper. Interesting. Okay. He flips it over and goes to the next
Because if
page.
the first thing was a dream, if depending on how much of this is real versus dream, that would determine whether or not the organization is real or a figment of our imagination. And who knows, you could have implanted the memories.
All right, so I think I'm picking some things up here. He points a finger at Hematite. That was your book, wasn't it?
Probably. Any luck?
Okay. Yeah, the boys at the lab are working on it. Interesting choices of language. So you're the one who had the flashlight. You're the one who had the book. And, I don't know, you seem more like the flamethrower type. Gotcha. Okay, I'm piecing this together. We'll get you your belongings back soon. We're working it all out. Don't you worry. Now, I'm not an unfair man. Mostly. At least right now. I suppose. You had some questions for me earlier. I'll answer what I can. But I obviously can't answer everything. I've given you my name. That's a good start.
Potentially.
I have so many. So, how much of that was real? How long have we been here? I guess is another secondary question.
Your head's scrambled like an egg, I guess, isn't it, huh? You've been here about a month, give or take.
So, since we arrived in Dorchester ish,
Well, I
or
suppose
left?
here might not be the right word, but you've been asleep for about a month.
What
A
is
little more.
Delta Green to you?
Hmm. To me personally or professionally?
Yes.
Well, personally, I can answer. A bunch of assholes. Targets.
Professionally?
I can't answer that question. In fact, let's just make that clear. I cannot tell you anything about professional things. But if you want to know what I know about your case, I can help you a little bit.
I mean, how much of what we experienced in Dorchester happened? If you can.
Well, I don't know about your visions and whatnot, but well, we were tailing you in there. You guys kind of showed up and scared off some kids, burned down a barn.
Huh.
That was all real.
What about what was in the barn?
He just smiles, doesn't answer.
That's enough of an answer for me, man. Paolo is just so tired of this now.
Fair.
Like
I want my notebook.
he's just sagging on the cot, like head in his hands, like, oh damn it.
I want my notebook now.
Yeah, we can get that to you. Any other last questions? Or we good enough here? We get you your possessions back.
How's
Alright.
the code going?
Well, we got copies. We'll get it eventually.
Have fun.
I'm sure they are. It's not really my thing, but yeah.
Might want to keep
I
an
guess
eye on them.
something I guess I don't think I mentioned was a couple of the times when things reset, you're hearing something about an experiment failing.
Yeah, that tracks.
Do little gray
Can you
men mean anything to you?
No. Very long pause. Smiles with his shitty golden teeth.
Got it.
can you tell us anything about the experiment? Or
Well,
is
that
that
kind
just
of
part of what you're calling a shared delusion, I
gets
guess?
into professional
Profession.
territory.
Of course it does.
We understand each other. You have the things you're not supposed to talk about. We have the things we're not supposed to talk about. In fact,
Can we get our stuff and go now?
you may, yes. We shouldn't be talking at all, but I was feeling a bit generous today. Get your things. He points a finger up in the air and twirls it. And somewhere you hear the sound of like a very large switch being thrown, like a huge like metal like breaker box type switch. And parts of the glass that in the boxes you're standing in just slide open, like in a circle pattern, in much the same way you've seen the one ship you saw crash, that one octahedron had a circle just open in it out of. It's that same kind of movement. You can all get up. We'll escort you out, and you hear some footsteps approaching, and about 6 very heavily armed mercenary looking dudes. Like, they look way too heavily armed to just be like to actually be like official soldiers or agents or anything. They're like comically kitted out in gear, all completely dressed in black, very similar to those dudes you saw that one day a year ago. And they're all just kind of surrounding you, ready to escort you.
I would like to change into my clothes, please.
Of course, can we do that before we leave? Um, well, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Where are
Alright.
we?
Oh, that's what I was gonna get to. There's certain precautions we're gonna have to take, of course. Hope you don't mind having your head in a bag for about an hour while we get you out of here. Yeah, just standard tradecraft. You get it. I'm sure you all know.
Uh-huh.
Do any of you try to fight back when these dudes start escorting you, or are you just gonna go along with them?
I'm just gonna go along.
All right.
So my
Yeah.
fixation with the flashlight, does it have to be my flashlight or can it be any?
I think it has to be your flashlight. Yeah, it's a based on at least on my understanding of the totemic compulsion. It's not just like you need a flashlight. It's like you are fixated on having this specific object with you, like it's a lucky charm or something like that.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. So I would probably have some sort of like a marking on the inside of it
Yeah.
so that I know it's mine.
So you can check that it's the same one. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're escorted. You're led to. You're led to essentially just the bathrooms that are located within this warehouse. Given your stuff, allowed to change, and then they're waiting right outside to escort you out again. There are no windows out from these bathrooms, so you are only given your clothes to change into here.
Okay. Yeah, I will cooperate at least until I have my book back.
All right. So after you've all changed, you've got your stuff back on. Your clothes have been washed, but some of the stuff has been like torn from just when you were out fighting and things like that. And that stuff has not been repaired, but your clothes are at least not covered in blood. For those of you who may have gotten blood on you. And you are eventually your things are placed in front of you in like these large clear plastic bags, like garbage bag sized bags, that they just have all of your stuff wrapped up in. All of your very illegal things are not here. Things like all the weapons that some of you had on you, or the flamethrower, that kind of thing. They didn't just hand that over. Unfortunate, but you do see like car keys and things in there.
Did they leave me my farm shotgun?
I think anything you had on you that would have been like actually legally registered, yes. So if your farm shotgun was, then
So maybe my gun and then any like actually like federal agent guns. We at least one person here like should have a gun, right?
I have one.
yeah, I think Hallow had at least one regular gun and then a lot of illegal guns that you were borrowing.
Yeah.
I've had a gun and a knife.
Yeah, you're also an agent of a kind, an intelligence agent, so it makes sense. I think, Hunter, you had some illegal ammo or something like that, which has probably been taken, but yeah, something along those lines. I remember you having a deal with that. But anyway, so you get your stuff back, and as soon as you are handed your things, these men in their very dark military clothes have the bags out, ready to put them over your heads. Is anyone trying to resist last second here?
I would probably say wait. Like, hold on a sec. I need to double check and make sure this is actually my stuff.
Of course, I'm not unreasonable. You can verify your belongings.
And I will scour my notebook for any signs of being tweaked.
Give me an intelligence roll.
One sec.
I'll give you a plus 20% on this because it is your notebook and it's your encoding and all that stuff. You'd notice obvious mistakes people would make trying to tweak it when they don't know your code and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
Very big success.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, I'm smart, even if I don't do wise things.
It appears untouched, although you can tell. I'll say that was a very good success, not quite a critical success, just because that's not how this system works. But you rolled very low, so I think in Call of Cthulhu that would have been a critical success, but not this game. So I'll say you do notice just looking over it, and you're so familiar with this object you have in your hands that you can tell that the chief was probably telling the truth here. It appears like by the way the spine has been worn out and stuff that this book has been left open on fax machines, copy machines, something for a while, having a lot of things scanned, that kind of stuff. Like it's clear they've taken many copies of this while trying to study it. It's been opened and closed a lot over this month.
I will, once I'm satisfied it's mine, I will say, like I said, keep an eye on your guys.
Oh, we're very good at keeping an eye on people, don't you worry. We'll be keeping an eye on all of you as well. That's just what friends do, of course. We just keep an eye on each other. Now, one last thing, as all the hoods are being put on your heads. We're not
friends
gonna.
don't hood friends.
It's standard procedure. I'm sure you understand. If you were in my shoes, you would do the same thing. Now, just to be clear, we're not going to go talking about this with others, are we? We never had this conversation. We never met. None of this ever happened. Yeah, understood?
Whatever.
Of course.
You're going to need to come up with your own reasons for why you were gone for a month. Good luck with that. Remember, we'll be watching. Hear him walking away again. You're led out, put on a helicopter. It sounds like you can hear the chopper going as you're pulled out, and it takes off, and you're taken somewhere for quite a length of time, and eventually you are let free. The helicopter lands. Your feet are on solid ground. The hoods come off, and the helicopter departs. Unless you guys would intervene before the helicopter departs.
I want to. I mean, there's probably no markings on the helicopter, but I still want to see if I can make out anything about it that is identifiable.
It is unmarked, but it doesn't appear to be like. It appears to be more military grade than like commercial. Like you do identify that at least.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have? I think there's actually like a military science skill. If you have that, you might be able to get some more information. But
I do not.
okay, so you recognize it as some kind of military craft, but that's as far as you get with your current knowledge. So, as the helicopter departs and you four are left standing there with your belongings and your fresh, clean, but probably still a little messed up and destroyed clothes, you are back outside the barn, the ruins of it at least, and the house nearby that also burnt down. You've been let back free in Dorchester. Your vehicles are still nearby, mostly smashed up for the couple of them that were in the way over there and all that.
All right, the first thing I'm going to do is take apart the flashlight and make sure that nothing was tampered with it. No bugs or like monitoring devices placed in it.
Looks like your flashlight. I'll just give that one to you because, you know, a flashlight's not that complicated of a device to have too many nooks and crannies to hide things in. You know, pop it out, take out the batteries, look in there. You know,
Is the sheriff's car still there? Is
It
the
is.
sheriff's corpse still there?
It is not.
What does the barn look like?
Ruins of a burned building.
Anything on the inside?
Lots of ashes.
Okay.
Are there footprints all around it? Because weren't there like tubes and mechanical things that probably would not have burned?
You could give me a roll for that to try and like, and maybe survival would make sense for like trying to figure out what footprints from the area, that kind of thing.
Nope.
Yeah,
Could I
hard to tell.
use a search
Can
roll
I-
to see if there's anything left behind by the aliens at all?
Sure, you can roll search.
I'm also looking around for anything in the ruins of the barn.
All right. Yeah. Anyone else doing search? That works. Technically,
This is what this boy does.
Yes. Technically, if we want to do multiple people doing a skill roll, you just take the highest person skill, which should have been Hallow anyways, but just got to remember that in the future before we jump in with the rolls. Just so we don't, you know, dogpile like 4 rolls on something to force a success. Quadruple advantage. One of you will roll
I'm trying
a
to
1.
wait my chance to interject too. I'm just
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm also
It's more of a I need to remember it too, and like ask, is anyone else searching? Things like that.
Mhm.
This is fine. This works since 70 would have been the higher target anyways. So you search through the wreckage, just pushing things out of the way. You know, just all the like remains of the barn that collapsed on itself and pieces that never fully burned. It looks like eventually the fire was put out. It's not like this thing was left to burn until like literally no wood was left. Some kind of fire department eventually showed up and prevented it from spreading to the forest and that kind of stuff. Although you can see a couple of the trees nearby definitely got a bit singed and stuff. So there's some damage in the area, but no, it appears that the only things you find here are just wood and ashes. I will say on this success though, you do notice that you would expect in the ashes of a burned building like this to find, you know, a building's not entirely made out of wood, right? You might find nails, screws, anything like that that might help keep it together. Hinges for doors, and there was like a whole contraption up top for lifting hay bales in through the loft and stuff like that. That stuff should have been left behind. But pretty much all of it's gone. You only find ashes here. There's no metal bits. It does appear that this place was picked clean.
All right. I am
So-
going to sit down and start journaling.
All right.
Yeah.
So
So-
what do we do now? Wait, what? Do we just go back to town and try to? I don't
I
know
think-
what we're supposed to do now.
Well, what
Did-
happened? I just
Do we have a
remember.
way to contact Delta Green at all?
You do have your burner phones that you were given.
Like, not Derringer, but like somebody from Delta Green.
Right. A way to contact your handler would probably be the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause the way Delta Green functions during this age, there's like several different ages of Delta Green depending on events in the Delta Green timeline and stuff. At this point in time, everyone's in cells, and you only ever interact with the cells like directly above or below you. You tend to have like a couple cells
Mhm.
you might know of, and then it kind of networks up to the top if things need to go higher. So you never contact anyone other than your handler, basically, which would be Grace.
Okay.
But Grace, I think each of you, we described it earlier in the story, and I don't remember what everyone's answers were, but each of you does have some kind of dedicated way to contact Grace. Yeah. You were probably briefed on a bunch of different ways you could contact her, whether it was like dead drops you could place or, things of that nature. You don't want anything that could be traced, like mail or like a lot of phone calls or anything like that, unless you had a really clever way of hiding things. But yeah, you tend to do something very sneaky just to get her attention and set up a meeting and then have the real conversations in person.
None of which
I
is going to
think we
help
need
us
to
right
talk.
here and right now.
Right. It might take time.
I think we need to get out of town and talk to Grace, but let's see what town looks like first.
As you guys sit here in this spot, can everybody give me a sanity roll as well, please? Okay. All 4 of you failed. Fortunately, this one does not drain your sanity. But, and this is a big but.
Oh no.
There's some familiarity here, right? Some things are starting to come back to you. You were very confused when you woke up in those glass boxes and you were having all those weird, those weird sensations and all of that. But now you're back in this place. This is a familiar place where you've died twice now, or got knocked out or whatever. Near-death experiences here twice now at the very least. You're back in your clothes. You have your possessions. Like all these things are starting to just like help your mind put some of your memories back together. And because of this, you're starting to kind of feel that shape of that weird idea that had burrowed into your head before. You're starting to remember little bits of it. But crucially, each of you remember a short phrase in one of the languages you know. Could be English for all of you, or you could choose a different language if you want to, but I'll give you the English translation of the phrase. Hallow. You remember the phrase obscure memory. You know this is something you can potentially do. Hunter, you remember the phrase exaltation of the flesh. Same thing, something you can potentially do. Hematite, you remember elder sign. And Garrett, you remember healing balm. All of you do know that these things, you don't remember exactly what they do or how they work. You'd have to try them to find it out. But you do know all of them come with a cost, as you are trading something to some power you are tapping into. You're not sure what. These are phrases, things you chant, symbols you carve into the air or onto things, rituals you perform. Maybe you have to eat a certain meal or consume a certain drug. Maybe you have to, but some of them are more simple than others. Like the elder sign might be just literally a visual thing you have to represent, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'll let each of you come up with some details if you want to when we get to those, but just remember you have them, and they will cost you things if you want to use them. I guess I can say, namely, they will usually cost you some combination of willpower points, sanity, and hit points whenever you use them.
Okay. I would probably, again, encode spacing things out so I don't accidentally activate it, write about mine, and again, try to describe it without, again, activating it, and like talk with the team and see if we can figure things out. Basically, see if anyone else is willing to share information.
Information on the word we heard?
Yeah.
Yeah, the word comes to your mind sort of like when you have a word on the tip of your tongue for a long time, you just can't remember it, and you stop thinking about it, and like an hour later it just pops up like, oh, that's what it was, duh. Like that's kind of how it pops into your mind.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess what I would start with is it feels like somebody's been messing with my mind and draining me in this month, but I don't remember it, just hints of memory. Do you guys have that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now there's something in my head.
Yeah, it's like almost a compulsion itch, but inside my head. Um,
I think I know what this is. I I don't know how I know what this is, but I think I know what it does.
all
Or,
right.
but I don't know what you all heard.
Don't really want to talk about it. I don't think it's important. Not the details, at least.
I think, yeah, we'll see when we need to use it. What do we do next? Like, do we go straight to Delta Green with all of this and see what happens?
I think they were pretty clear about not talking about stuff. I don't know if I want to. I mean, you saw them the first time. I don't think we want to risk them showing up at our front doors if we start telling Delta Green everything. I mean, what did Grace tell us about them? They were a competitor, right? Something. Uh,
I don't remember.
I remember she
Claire
told us
doesn't for me.
something.
Well,
Yeah,
We wasn't.
she and she did tell us something, right? Like they were in
Yeah,
opposition to them in
I'm
some way.
trying to remember exactly what, and I think I could find that in my notes somewhere. But yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, she used some kind of analogy that I thought was clever. The phrase that comes to mind is the uncle nobody talks about kind of vibe. But
Ah,
yeah,
okay, yeah. So there were also some government organization that was just probably trying to use the technology that Delta Green's trying to hide.
yeah, that's the vibe you've gotten at least. Yeah.
so they had to be like watching over what we were doing. Basically, I guess we probably did like their job for them because they had to have like swooped right in to save us because like the aliens were right there. So they must really want us alive for some reason. Maybe because they think that we're gonna just keep doing stuff for them and they don't have to like risk their own people.
I
Maybe?
would I would be interested to see what happens in the town. Because if you remember um the crazy guy's notes, I don't remember his name, Scott. If you remember Scott's notes, he said something about a helicopter here on the night that we were here. So I don't know if everything in town still went the way it was supposed to.
I mean, if we burned down the
Hmm.
barn, Billy couldn't have gotten abducted, right? Because that's where they were based out of?
I don't know,
Are you
maybe
right?
this isn't where they were based out of. Maybe they got different bases and this is just like one place.
And what
Well,
about the
yeah,
experiment? Like,
what if it was
they,
those people that were experimenting on us?
or maybe the entire town? Does the town, I don't know, I mean,
Well, that's why
the
I
town
think we should at least go check in on the town to see
yeah, we
if
should
everyone's happily living their lives or if the town's all of a sudden gone, then
Well, you'd think they would have told us something if they were just gonna let us loose in the town like wasn't even there anymore, so...
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
think they would
I
have
mean,
told us
they
much
said
of
we scared
anything.
off some kids, which I think we did that.
We certainly made a scene at the reservoir.
That's
I guess
true.
if we scared anybody off, it was probably for the best.
Yeah, because
So,
I'd be interested to see if it's still tax season.
yes, I think we need as much information as we possibly can get. Um, if we can find a way, I might see about reaching out, maybe, because I don't think anyone except us has our best interests at heart, and I kind of want to see what shakes out when we start poking things.
Yeah, I'd
Because the
be a
more
little.
information we have, the better positioned we are to protect our own asses in this corporate fight.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried to reach out to Delta Green because I think after the first time we woke up, I don't know if they officially made it a mission for us. Because I thought I remember Derringer saying he was gonna try to have it be something they were investigating, but it wasn't official yet. So we might have overstepped our bounds with this job.
I can't remember. It all feels like it happened 100 years ago at this point.
I think the first time we contacted Derringer, he said he was already going to be reaching out, and then we did get the official notice that it was on the books. So I think we've been good. We just skipped the Grace conversation, if there was one.
That's my recollection as well. I think you started before it was officially an operation, but you did get the go ahead soon. It was just too soon for them to like requisition resources for you, really.
Okay.
They still had to get people set up in labs and stuff. They were trying to study things. They were trying to get you to send them samples of people that were abducted or whatever. But then you saved Billy, and then like nobody was abducted to be sent in for testing and stuff. So they never got progress in the lab stuff. But you did have like an official operation, as far as you know. Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed that part.
All good. All good. It may have been a pretty quick part of a conversation.
Yeah. Whatever experiment is going on, those guys were aware of it. I wonder if Billy was part of it the first time.
Well, that's what I'm
Hmm.
thinking. 'Cause they clearly did something to us. So
Or maybe maybe they were monitoring, they wanted to see what the gray men would do to Billy.
and they also clearly had some type of a door that opened very oddly. I can't really put
It
what it
was
was
it
like,
was
but
it was like inside the ship that you apparently don't remember.
yeah, no, I don't remember. I just remember being in the barn and then those guys showed up and then I don't remember anything after.
It's interesting that they knew that we were there for the Rainbow Rock, but not that we just kind of handed the rock over. I mean, I
I
guess it's
think
because we gave the
he
rock to
might
Delta
have known.
afterwards.
I think it was in his best interest to have us prove our cooperation.
Hmm.
I'm going to scribble in the back of my notebook a note in English, like, don't say anything out loud, but nod or shake your head if you trust Delta Green to have our best interests on this one. And then I'm gonna like show it and flash it to you with a finger on my lips.
I think I would nod.
Hunter's gonna think about it for a second and then hesitantly nod.
I was kind of not sure. Because we're caught in between a rock and a hard place, right? Two competing factions, as it were.
Yeah. So
One
what
of
I'm
them is
gonna
definitely kind of hostile to us, but I don't think the other one. I think the other one is kind of indifferent. And the indifferent one being Delta Green, as far as having our
Mhm.
best interest at heart. So he just kind of like makes a complicated face and kind of shrugs.
Uh, she's gonna sit down and start writing, and what eventually she's gonna hand around is like options, like after we go into town, which we need to do first. Should we try and make a drop to Delta Green to get their protection from this other group and let them know to be on their guard? Is it worth the risk of being caught? Should we stay on our own and should we cooperate with the dude who captured us?
I don't want to cooperate with that guy.
I think we need to know more about what's still going on in town before we make any decisions like this.
Fair. I just,
Because if the experiment or whatever is still going on, well, that's
yeah.
tough. He, we are going to have to check back in with Derringer at some point because we were in contact. We burned down a barn and a house and then we disappeared.
How are we going to explain the months? That's
Uh,
why I'm bringing this up. How are we going to, if we're going to tell the truth, we need to decide that we're going to do that. Otherwise, we need to come up with a story for how we explain why we were gone for a month.
I mean, that can easily be explained by dealing with alien stuff. We might just
well,
need to get
we
tested
could
for
say
a
that we
long
went.
time. But
Maybe another ship showed up and it landed and we went inside. And when we came out, it was a month later. Time moved differently inside.
Okay.
I mean, they don't know. We don't. Shit, we don't even know that.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we don't even
Are
know if
any of
we.
our cars functional?
I think
Uh,
so.
The
The
SUV
sheriff
should be.
didn't run into Hunter's car, right? He just
So the truck is
it definitely got
absolutely
shot
fucked.
up. Oh, that's right. It got shot up to hell.
The truck
We have
got
Howell's car.
yeah, the truck got rammed and then shot with a shotgun like 4 or 5 times.
That's right.
Yeah.
It didn't get hit. Hallow hit another car with it. That's what happened.
Hunter
Yeah.
feels an incisive sadness that he wasn't really expecting to ever feel again when he sees the truck.
Oh,
Aw.
Well, sorry about your truck. I'll get you a
okay.
new one if we get out of this.
But I think Tao's SUV is good unless it was hit by lightning.
No, it was parked in the corn.
Well, Hematite and I were both by it when we were getting shot, so I don't know if GM wants the lightning to have hit it in one of the misses or if it's okay.
You can get in the seat and try it.
I'll get in the seat and try it then.
It takes a minute, like a little longer, and you're like hesitant, like is it actually going to start? And then it does start.
Well, hell, your car's good.
All right, let's get
Yeah.
into town, I guess.
I would definitely
And
take a piece of paper and like jot down on it. We might want to watch our words in the car.
yeah.
They might have bugged it.
Another thing Hallow's gonna I think Hallow would try to check for as we like leave is kind of take a look at the surrounding like more the surrounding distance, like looking for hills and Because we were on a helicopter, they probably would have been able to feel significant shifts in turning on the way there. So, like, what direction they might have come from in the helicopter. And just, like, kind of make a note of what direction
Yeah.
whatever just happened was.
Have you ever closed your eyes in a flying vehicle?
You probably could have seen the way it departed at least, but you have no way of knowing if they took a bunch of turns just to mislead you or took off in the wrong direction originally. We'll say they did take off to the north, though.
Mm-hmm.
Hematite with the piece of paper is going to cross out the it and put us.
What was on the piece of paper before the crossing out?
We should watch our words. They might have bugged in the car. They might have
Gotcha.
bugged it. Hematite's gone full paranoia and is assuming that every single thing is somehow being tracked.
Oh yeah, that's why I obsessively first took my flashlight apart, because I was like, there's no way they didn't tamper with it.
Carlos' sanity is doing pretty good. So I think he's holding that part together pretty well. He's just tired.
Must be nice.
Hematite's, I
Speaking of
mean,
sanity.
her sanity number is pretty good, but the paranoia is just a thing now, pretty much.
Speaking of sanity, I was going to bring this up later, but I actually think it's a good time to bring it up now just for timing purposes. You guys went missing without notice for a month. Or more, really. So, I will offer you a trade here, potentially. You can take it if you want to or not, and this can be represented in a number of different ways here. I will let you each take half of the scores off of all of your bonds and regain that much sanity, like the combined amount that you took off the bonds, to represent like not being able to give anyone a satisfactory answer about where you went for a month and like all that kind of stuff, and like it being very bad and you're just focusing on your own sanity instead of focusing on like trying to get back with your bonds and make things right again and all that kind of stuff. Or however else you want to represent that. Or you can just keep the situation as it is, and we assume that you spend a lot of time getting back with your bonds. Maybe they're more understanding than other agents' bonds or something, or they just don't care. Maybe your bonds weren't so close with you and they're just like people you happen to know. You know, however you want to handle it.
So is it either all or nothing?
Yeah, it would be half of all of them or nothing. This is the trade I'm offering.
And I assume that doesn't apply to bonds with teammates.
Correct.
Okay.
I think I'll take that. Partially because one of my bonds is my partner at my FBI job, and if I went missing for a month, there's some splaining to do.
Yeah, I will absolutely take that. And what happens if it is an odd number?
You can choose which way around it. I don't care. You just get that many points back. You get the the consistent number of points back. This is kind of to make up for me not reminding you guys that we can project onto bonds a lot, and your sanity's dipping a lot because of that. So yeah, just projecting onto bonds can save you. There's been a lot of sanity losses this season.
And we get back the total number that we just...
Yeah. So if you had like 3 bonds and you subtracted 5 from all of them, you'd regain 15 sanity.
Oh, nice. I just got back 21.
I just got like...
Nice.
8.
And so how do you rebuild?
Hal is doing really good sanity-wise. He just has some PTSD to work through.
Yeah. What's up, High
How do you rebuild bonds with, like, the scores with the bonds?
In
between
the bonds,
scenes.
How do you rebuild them? I see what you're saying. Yeah, downtime scenes can help you rebuild them.
All right. Yeah, I mean, one's my fiance, so leaving for a month.
Yep. That's pretty rough.
Are our breaking points going to change at all, or are they going to stay the same?
They'll stay the same, so you should be very
Okay.
far from your breaking points at this point. Yeah, if you take the deal.
I think hematite would not necessarily notice her sanity loss.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's fair either way. All right. Everybody settled on their sheets, so we need more time to click some numbers.
Hunter is
I'm
done.
still clicking numbers, but you can go ahead.
Okay. So you're all packing up in the car and heading back to Dorchester. Is that the plan?
Yeah,
believe so.
we're gonna go for a drive through Dorchester,
All right.
and then I think from there we head to the hospital where we had last left Derringer.
Probably not a bad idea.
Get ourselves checked out
Might
to go with our
want to give
backstory.
Derringer a call to
call?
see if he's still there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh yeah,
Did we want to call Derringer outside of the car? Because maybe the guy will think we're already trying to tell them. Although if they
Or
have us
that could
bugged,
be
they
why
already
we're
heard me say that. So.
True.
I mean, they gotta know that we're gonna like
they
make
told us to
contact
come
with
up with a
people.
story.
yeah. They told us to come up with a story. They're expecting us to contact somebody about something.
They
Just
are
pick up the
also
phone.
almost surely listening to us, though.
Just when the phone gets picked up, what's up, nerds? No.
You call Derringer. Keith Lepus picks up the phone. So is one of you calling while you're on the way then?
Yeah, I'm driving.
It's the
Well,
90s. Who says you can't do both?
hmm.
True.
Jeez.
Like yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Hunter is definitely not the
I'll
make
give
contact
Derringer
person.
a call on the way back.
All right. Well, whoever pulls out the phone,
I
phone
got
has
it.
no service.
Okay.
Spooky.
Is that
Hey,
all of our
when
phones
you
have no service?
Yep.
Then do here, Hematite. You probably know how to take one of these apart. Does it still have the card inside?
I will take it apart and see
Counting on her
what's in there.
paranoia.
You find a bug planted inside, but it otherwise looks intact.
We found the decoy bug.
I'm going to scribble in my notebook. I'm gonna leave this so they think we are dumb.
Yeah. No. How's recommendation if he'll scribble also while driving. Very very safe driving today. Is take it out if it doesn't have its own power source, and then just leave it somewhere. That way it'll just continue listening, and we can just leave it somewhere and call somebody somewhere else.
I will nod and then also write the word payphone.
That's also a good idea. But also, if I imagine all of the phones and all of the communications in Dorchester are bugged.
Most likely.
So maybe not call anyone there. Maybe go back to like the hospital and call there after we're done in Dorchester.
I'll nod.
So, hello.
Alright,
You notice
and-
while you're driving here, you may be unsafe driving. It's caused you to swerve on the road a few times as you kind of kind of drift into the opposite lane for just a few seconds, then come back. Things like that occasionally while you're out here literally writing on a piece of paper driving.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's
totally
okay.
normal activity.
Exactly. It turns out it's okay
Hey,
because you don't
you drive with your
spy.
knees.
Yeah, hey, if it works, it works. You don't get into any accidents though, and you don't even have any close calls, and nobody even sees you driving recklessly because you don't see another car in sight ever on this drive. You're the only car on the road. And then you arrive at Dorchester.
Is it still there?
Oh, it's there.
Are there
You
people
see-
there?
You see cars parked on the sides of roads in places. Some cars abandoned in the street in a few spots. You see most of the buildings around have yellow tape around them in different places. You don't see anybody walking on the streets. You see broken windows. You see cars smashed into each other. You see this place is a wreck. Nobody lives here now, it appears, or if they do, they're just hiding in the backs of buildings. Everywhere is just taped off, cordoned off. Something happened here. It looks like there was some kind of mass panic, and nothing went well.
Are there any corpses?
No corpses. Although, as you drive by a couple places here, do you remember that spot where I think it was Hematite and Hunter had stopped and the cop had pulled up? There's sort of like a grass kind of triangle where the highway, like part of not the highway, the interstate, and like connects to the other roads and all that. That place appears to be freshly dug up and reburied. It's all
Should we
just
start at the
research.
church or the town hall?
Second
Town
one, I
hall.
think.
Go to the town hall. That's the center of all this, or it was before.
Drive over to the town hall. There are cars in the parking lot. The town hall is taped off. The doors have been torn off their hinges, but there's like diagonal, like an X of police evidence tape, like over it, that kind of thing. Like it's a crime scene tape. The whole place is, yeah, once again just cordoned off. You're not supposed to enter, it looks like, but there's nobody around to enforce that.
I'm gonna duck through the tape.
It's pretty damp in here. Feels like those doors have been off for a while, and there's been some rain that's come through that's just let a lot of moisture into the building. It's not like it's flooded, but you can just feel the humidity in there. Definitely doesn't feel like it's had electricity for a while or anything, or anyone's even been in here. The air is just kind of stale. Everything's dusty. It's empty.
I'm gonna check where the flush ball was.
Empty room.
Alright. I will walk back out. And shake my head and say nothing. The word nothing.
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting any of this.
I know this is horrible to say, but should we go check that disturbed dirt?
Yeah, might as
See
well.
if the humans still look like, humans?
You think that's a grave? Well, we can check.
I mean, something's there. Or was removed from there.
Sure. I mean, we can go check that out. And pull over to that. Or just stop the car next to it.
Do we have a shovel?
I think
I
somebody
probably
did
have a
before.
shovel. Yeah.
Okay.
It may have been in the truck, but you probably could have grabbed that.
I mean, if not, there's a hardware store in town that is
True.
probably ransackable.
We'll say you brought the shovel from the truck. Because I think somebody
Okay.
did have one.
Dig, dig,
Who's
dig.
digging?
I'll
Hunter
dig.
will. He is digging a hole.
Hematite's going to see about getting a cane.
All right. Start looking through some of the stores downtown. There's plenty and no people in them. Most of them are,
All
once
right.
again, crisscrossed, don't go in here. But we'll say you find a cane of some kind in one of the stores.
Yeah, raid a drugstore, get a walking stick.
Yeah, that works. Hunter, you sink the shovel into the dirt. Put the shovel full of dirt, throw it to the side. You do this a couple times. Make some progress into the dirt. And eventually you hit something hard.
I hit something. Kind of bend down, scrape some dirt away with my hands.
Your shovel has pierced through the skin that is wrapped around the skull of one of the aldermen of the town. You see his face as you brush the dirt off.
I just stare at it for a few seconds, kind of wondering why I don't feel anything as I see this. I wipe my hand disgustedly in the dirt, and I just put the shovel down, and I stand up and I describe what I just hit. I bet we're gonna find lots more under here if we keep going.
Does it look like a person, though?
Yeah, are they in
Yes.
their human form or ball
Does-
form?
I don't think it was a ball. I guess I didn't check. I'll turn around, I'll use the shovel, and I'll check. See if this is a person or if this is a ball.
Does appear to be a human.
Yep. It's a guy.
Are there any more? Should see if there's at least one more. And I'll confirm it, I guess, is a mass grave. Ugh.
I nod. I keep digging.
You don't have
While
to dig
this is
very far,
happening-
because it appears the bodies were just kind of tossed in here on top of each other and then buried.
Yep. This is a mass grave. That's what it is. I wouldn't be
Why
surprised
can't
if
we go back in time when it's useful?
While Hunter was digging, I would go into a couple of the shops and check the landlines to see if they're dead as well.
Is it just the aldermen in here? Or they're the townspeople?
What does it seem like that I'm uncovering?
The second person you found was not one of the aldermen.
Okay. Oh, it's more than just aldermen.
Can I get a sanity roll from everybody? This is versus helplessness. As you come to
Man.
the same realization that Hematite did of like, we've saved so much here, but this is a tragedy and we weren't able to prevent it. Not this time. This is 1d4 points of sanity loss. If you fail. 0 on a success.
Woo!
Alright, can you roll the d4 for me?
Yes. 4 from helplessness.
Great.
Alright, so I guess
Cool.
we can assume that it was those people who buried everyone here and tried to clean up.
Hi, Todd. You were looking for a phone, right?
Yeah, just some landlines, picking them up, seeing if there's a ringtone.
I think you do eventually find one that is still running. Yeah.
Then I would attempt to dial Derringer's phone number that I recall.
You get it. You don't even get a ring. You're just informed that that number is not in service.
What the hell happened here? Was this because of the one thing that got away?
I don't know. If it got away, why didn't it stop the experiment again?
At this point, I would probably
I
come
mean,
back.
if we were being
from-
watched, those guys probably could have killed it too.
What's
Maybe
up,
they didn't
Ted?
want to kill it.
Oh, I was gonna say, at this point, I would probably walk back from the phone and just kind of say, yeah, I think whatever happened is beyond this, because Derringer's phone no longer exists.
This has got to be bigger than
Alright.
just a little alien. This doesn't really seem like what they were doing before. This seems bigger than that.
Yeah. Why don't we start heading back to where we met up at the beginning of all of this, like the up or whatever.
The what?
The diner?
The diner?
Oh, the diner. Yeah.
The diner outside of town?
Yeah, but I was also thinking like eventually head back to where we first met Derringer.
Ah, the FBI
Oh.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we check the
First,
hotel
let's get
too?
out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, is
let's-
Scott's van still there?
Yeah, before you leave town, you can swing by the motel and you see Scott's van still there.
Is there evidence of Scott in his room?
No. All the doors have a crime scene tape over them.
Is
Whatever we
Scott's
did, we-
laptop in his room? Or was his van gone?
His van's there. If you peek inside, it does appear his computer's still in there. Yeah.
Alright, I will attempt to use the same password I used last time.
You're able to log on. It appears this place still has power. You find similar files to last time. I think some of them may not be there yet. I'd have to check the order. Because they each did have a date of creation.
We have the note on the board near the top.
Yes.
Yeah, the most recent one is 9-7.
Yeah,
So if
I
it's
don't.
October, they should have all happened.
So you find that you find that note, but it gets cut off earlier. Like not all of the note is there yet. Because some of the note everything after the 6th, which is the day you guys went to the barn, anything created after that day in the note is not there now.
There was
which
one
I don't
note
think
from
is
the
many.
7th. Anyway,
Yeah, so the 9, you notice that the 9-7 note is not there. You also notice the audio recording is not there, I believe. And that file that was very crazy, that was like, if consciousness is omniparent, or just is, if consciousness, shall we say, is, and like just yapping, that note is not there either.
Alright, so we clearly caused something to happen here by not
Burning
stopping
down
that
that
one
barn.
dog.
Yeah.
Let's see if it spreads to outside of town. If the diner's outside of town is still operational, then we have at least some idea of the scope of this thing.
I mean, I am a little worried because Derringer's phone just doesn't exist. It could have been a burner that he got rid of, but
That's probably what happened. It's been a month. Or so, they probably think we're dead.
Wait, no, it's not a burner that he got rid of, because we called him before we met him.
Oh, shoot. That's bad.
Also, I will let each of you decide this for yourselves, but anyone who, having this conversation, opening this laptop, all of that, maybe is starting to feel like what High Tide said, did your actions lead to this? If your agent is starting to have thoughts like that, roll a sanity test against helplessness.
All right, let's get that immunity.
yeah, that's me
Yeah.
immune to helplessness.
Hunter is giga chatting
I
about the
succeeded.
consequences of his actions.
Giga chatting. Okay, so it's another D4 on a failure, which I guess is
How
just
it's
High
holding
Tide.
it together.
Nope. And High Tide no longer cares about the consequences of his actions or the consequences against people around him or whatever.
And I think that's most accurate because I was the one that read the notes
Yeah.
before, and now I'm just like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. The computer nerd sits at the computer to find the computer evidence and then realizes, oh god, this is serious.
And now I'm just sitting there, like, staring at it intently.
Any other things you want to do in town, or was it the hospital next? Was that the next destination, or was it the office?
I think it was.
I would like to go to hospital
diner,
next since it's.
probably. Okay.
Yeah, I feel
I
like-
mean, if other people want to go to the diner, Hunter's not going to say no, but he definitely wants to go to the hospital before we bother with the office.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like heading out of town, hospital, diner, and then office makes
I think
the
Yeah.
most sense.
I think the diner would be on the way to the hospital as far as spatial.
Gotcha.
So if
Let's
you
go to
want
the diner
that-
first, though.
All right.
Yeah, that's more just a, like, how big is this problem kind of check.
Yeah. So you go to that nearby diner. It's just down the way. It's mostly empty. You see, there are people in there working, and there are a couple people. Once you leave town, you start to see cars on the road and stuff, especially once you get on the highway, things like that. It's just not a lot of traffic in that area. But the diner was in like the next town over. People are here. Whatever problem was happening, it didn't spread over here, or at least not in any significant, not to the same degree that happened in Dorchester. But it does appear that not many people feel like coming out to a diner. It's pretty empty. I mean, I guess it's a Thursday at noon or whatever. Maybe it's even like mid-afternoon, not super diner time anyways. But there is the same news crew you saw. I hesitate to say weeks ago because your sense of timescale is kind of weird. But before you guys ever headed to Dorchester, there was a news crew here talking about Dorchester. And they're here once again outside. That same man is speaking into the camera. It's been over a month since the mysterious virus spread like wildfire through Dorchester. A terrible tragedy, one we are here to remember, one we are here to document. Dorchester may have been a strange little town, but its people did not deserve such a tragedy. We are going to interview people from these nearby towns after this break. He nods to the camera.
I
Are we
guess
inside the diner right
answers.
I was in the diner parking lot, but you can head into the diner.
Yeah, upon hearing that, I would just look at everyone.
We gotta spin it some way.
Hospital.
Yeah. We gotta head to the hospital.
Okay. You guys pack back up. Don't stop in the diner. Head to the hospital. Upon arriving, I think one of the receptionists does recognize you all, although does a double take. And you recognize them as like, yeah, this is one of the Delta Green friendlies here that can get you in contact with the right people and might, skirt some health information and privacy laws to help you get what you need, because they're also Delta Green. So they just make that kind of eye contact with you, like, yeah, okay, I know who you are.
Yeah. Just ask, hey, we need to get in contact.
I don't know who you want to get in contact with.
Is Derringer still someone you have contact with? From
She looks at you,
before?
kind of puzzled.
That's not a person who exists, is it? Damn it.
No, well, not anymore.
What do you mean, not
Derringer
anymore?
died over a month ago here in this hospital.
Did he get the infection?
Yes, he was a victim of that same virus that hit so many people. We had to quarantine him, and it's a nightmare. It was a swift and deadly virus. Less than a day he lived.
Unnatural?
Kind of like gives a not confirming, but like, yeah, maybe kind of like a little bit of a grimace and a tilt of the head, like, kind of seems like it, but not confirmed is kind of the vibe you get.
Okay.
What happened to the kid that we left here, the one with the bottle in him?
She just shakes her head slowly. Looks down
And
a bit.
Billy?
What do you mean no? That
He was already dead.
No, not Billy too. Jane too.
Not that kid. We found a weird kid in
Yeah.
town.
As I understand it, he also died isn't the right word, but ceased.
Well,
Was
when we
that-
brought him here, he was
Different.
already dead. He had a glass bottle.
He wasn't. She's trying to like keep her voice hushed, and your voice rises just a tiny bit, and she kind of hushes you down. Looking around the hospital lobby, he less like he got a virus, and more like at a certain point he just turned off, stopped.
Was that on the 6th?
Thinks for a moment. You can see her almost like counting on one of her fingers to count back the days. Yeah, the 6th.
When did the virus start?
The
7th? Shit.
Most of the people were brought to hospitals by the 7th, but none made it to the 8th.
Did it spread to anyone in the hospital staff, or was it just the patients?
It was extremely contagious, yes.
Are there any lasting effects?
No one survived. A few people made it out, got to hospitals, had to be quarantined. I don't know how none of you heard any of this, but they had to quarantine the whole city. No one was allowed in or out. People were trying to force their way out. The police had to keep them in. It was terrible. It was all over the news. I mean, people fighting for those people, trying to get in behind the lines of the police officers to set people free. It was... People are calling it an act of... an authoritarian nightmare. That it had to be done, though. I mean... It had
We've
to.
been pretty seriously indisposed until today.
I won't ask any other questions than that.
has it spread
Um,
outside the area? Is it? I don't know. There are people at the diner, so like, the kind of feeling I was getting is that it's all kind of been contained to here, but is anything more happening, like, outside?
We have no more confirmed cases at this point. It was very short-lived, whatever it was. It spread to pretty much everyone in the vicinity of anyone that had it, and then everyone who had it died by the 8th, and then we had no more new cases. So it did spread to some of the nearby towns, but not as badly. Still a tragedy everywhere.
Were you able to do any autopsies on the corpses? Did they have any?
Me personally, no.
Well, I mean, in general, the hospital, or were they just immediately discarded once?
I couldn't tell you. That's above my pay grade. I'm just telling you what I saw on the news. A couple things I've heard around here about, Billy, etc.
Does our family weird uncle mean anything to you? Our family.
I actually don't have any uncles. Just how my family worked out. Both sides. Very strange.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. I think we just go home.
He's just looking at all of you
Yeah,
very
we'll get out of
concerned.
your hair.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get out of your hair. We'll reconvene, like, outside somewhere. There's got to be, like, a standing area without being... somewhere we can talk without being in the car.
I would also definitely check all of my clothes and belongings for any bugs.
Oh,
Since we know they bug.
yeah, while we were at the hospital, I would ask if we could raid the lost and found.
Yeah, they probably sewed bugs in all of our clothes. There's probably no getting them out easily.
Alright, get a wardrobe refresh.
Yeah, since the receptionist is a friendly, I would ask if she would let us raid the lost and found for privacy's sake.
Yeah, I think because she's friendly. Yeah. You have an in with this place, they'll let you do some less than ethical things just to, because they understand you gotta do what you gotta do. They don't ask any questions.
And said lost and found because most of the time people don't come back for those.
Yeah, fair.
People forgotten about them.
You find some stuff. I don't think they have enough here that everyone can get a full wardrobe refresh that fits. It's but
right.
You find a few
a
things.
Couple
here.
articles maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll wear a crop top.
Hell yeah.
I was looking mostly for like hoodies, sweatpants, rain pants. Like
Yeah. This makes
I don't
sense.
need to be wearing underwear. I just need to look decent for society.
Yeah, you can definitely find some things, especially if they're a little too big, and just wear those.
Mm-hmm.
As Hunter is changing into whatever articles of clothing he can find, he begins absently tracing paths across his skin that have just sort of out of nowhere he's developed just kind of like a fidget of tracing these lines going from his palms down his arms to his heart, and it feels like a very familiar pattern to him, and he just sort of realizes that he doesn't really remember having ever done that before. He doesn't mention it. He just thinks it's weird.
Would also try to find a knee brace if there is one in the lost and found.
I don't know if there's one in the lost and found, but the hospital can probably secure one for you if you ask.
I would definitely ask.
Yeah. Well, with all of these bombshells dropped on all of you, I think that's where we'll end tonight's session, as you all figure out what's going on next. Is that mission over? Will we be doing home scenes next time? Will we be moving on to the next mission, or is there still more to figure out here? I'll catch you next week.